Hey, what's going on? My name is Daniel Calderon and welcome back to Corner Talks. Toxic people. What is a toxic person? A toxic person is anyone who is abusive, unsupportive, and emotionally unhealthy. They bring your spirits down and they make you question if it is even worth it to be happy or optimistic about your life. They are incapable of being grateful and sincere about their own accomplishments, let alone yours. They can be jealous, envious, and resentful of your successes. And whether that energy is direct or not, it has one purpose: to bring you down. These are some best ways to deal with people that you find to be extremely toxic. Do not let their issues become your issues. I know it may sound even harsh and cold to speak this way. However, if you are constantly associating with people that are sharing problems in their life, you will naturally absorb their negativity. Speaking from experience, I was the go-to guy for a lot of people's issues. I'd be the guy to listen, to console, and to even offer my opinion as a good person. Yet what was happening is the same person kept bringing up the same problems over and over and over again at any chance in the conversation. And what I was realizing is I was experiencing these problems as if they were my own. I now understood that the issues of toxic people didn't only just consume your energy, but they also consumed your mind, your perception on the world. What happened was I was becoming more cynical and paranoid because I was consumed by everyone's behaviors and experiences. These toxic people, these people with a lot of issues that I was surrounding myself with, became my mindset. I'm not trying to say to ignore these people. I'm not trying to say to hate these people. I'm just saying for your own mental health, at least it did it for me, please look if they're constantly bringing up issues in their life. Look if they make every conversation about them and about their problems. And if that's the case, distance yourself from them any which way you can. And I'll be discussing other ways you can, but do anything to disassociate and remove yourself from that toxicity. Depending if they're a good friend, close cousin, or the love of your life, it can be very difficult in assessing how that person truly makes you feel. You may be blinded by their toxicity because of the relationship you share, in which you feel obligated to tolerate and ignore certain red flags. But I encourage you to do the opposite and observe them closely. Too many people get caught up in the emotional side of their brain, thinking what they are experiencing or who they know is normal. We need to use the logical part of our brain to assess our feelings and see if they align with our values. I used to hang out with a friend where every time I went home from that hangout, I used to feel low and sad about myself. For a while, I could never figure out why I was in such a bad mood that night and the following day. It never occurred to me that that person I was hanging out with made me feel bad about who I was. The reason for this is because I was blinded by one simple idea. We were friends for a very long time, and I could never be hurt by them. But what I didn't know is that their cynical and envious mindset for relationships, career goals, and other people's successes were contradicting my values of optimism and gratitude. I don't know if I had a God complex growing up, but in some diluted sense, I always felt from my unique perspective and charismatic character that I could change the mind of a toxic person. I learned that the hard way, discovering with many relationships in my life that I really couldn't change them. However, I did discover something I wish I knew since birth, and that is the only person that can change is yourself. No matter how much a person likes you or says they love you, they will never change unless they want to. For a while, I was very cynical based on the things that I witnessed and experienced. I was in a dark place. I used to complain. I used to have a lot of self-pity because I wanted to be at a certain point in my film career. And at the time, the current sales job I had, I felt was weighing me down. And I would share this with people. I would vent to people and I would unload this toxicity on people. And I realized that instead of constantly talking about my problems, to constantly discussing it with them, because you start to get a sense of they're not interested anymore. They start to get, annoyed, frustrated with you. I said, what better way to change it, to change this toxicity, than to change it for myself, than to find something else that can make me happy. So I quit the sales job and began focusing all my energy on creating a business called 94 Productions. Through the use of this company, I began to meet like-minded individuals who shared that same passion for storytelling and that keen sense for creativity. The thing is that my decision to make a change is what prevented me from being toxic. It hasn't been smooth all the time, but I have to say, I'm far better off than where I was before, because they could tell me all they want to change, to make a difference, to find a new way out, but I was never gonna listen. The only way I was gonna make that change is to do it for myself. So I guess the best way to deal with a toxic person, if you encounter them, is to know that you don't have that power to change them. They only have the power to do it themselves. One of the easiest and best ways to deal with someone that is toxic is just by saying no. Yet a lot of the times, we make situations more complicated than what they are. By uttering that one word or rejecting them from further entering your life, only you can describe that feeling for yourself. If the person is so toxic to the point where you can't even enjoy yourself around them, where you can't even get through to them when you speak to them, well, make yourself unavailable to their bad energy. They want to hang out? No. They want to talk some more? No. They want to argue? No. The old saying of misery loves company has never been more true for toxic people. Avoid giving them that power and avoid being in a situation of vulnerability by saying yes. Yes, I'll hang out with you even though half the time you're insulting me. Yes, I'll listen to your endless hours of talking shit about your relationship even though I told you to end it. Yes, I will hear you argue on end about your closed-minded views. When you say no, the person may give you friction. They may even manipulate you, especially if you're a good person, to feeling you should feel guilty about your decision. But just know that you'll thank yourself one day for having the courage to say it. Since this pandemic, I have become enlightened by this notion of putting yourself first before others. This may come across arrogant, selfish, and crude to what I just said. But when people are acting selfish, arrogant, and crude, well, this justifies why you should put yourself first. Toxic people are notorious for putting themselves first. Their problems, their concerns, anything they find important is above you. They are the last people to put you before them, and that shouldn't be the case. Like with anything, I'm sure you have limits. And with those limits, you can only be so polite and tolerable. When my limits are now crossed, I reassess my relationship with the person. You see, seeking out what may benefit you or make you a more positive individual by removing yourself from a toxic person or relationship, it's not a selfish act, it's a necessary one. When you put yourself first, you're telling yourself and you're telling others that you have self-respect, that you are aware of your worth, your value, and you do not need toxic people in your life to feel fulfilled. And once that's established, you get on a dangerous level of where toxic people won't know how to deal with you. Thanks again for joining me on another Corner Talks. I really hope my discussion on how to deal with toxic people has benefited you and helped you into realizing your self-worth, your self-respect, what you deserve in life. If you're with someone, if you're in a relationship that the person is toxic, reassess it. Reassess how you feel, identify how you feel, identify how to improve, and make it a priority that your mental health comes first. How you feel about that relationship, that situation, that person. Because toxicity is not good for anyone, especially nowadays, especially what we're going on in the world. We don't need more problems in our lives. And if we can prevent these people from further hurting us, so be it. If you agree or disagree on my ways of handling toxic people, please leave your comments down below. I always love seeing your thoughts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care, and I'll see you soon.